Can the soul truly strip one's life of meaning? When I most desired to connect to my soul was when I had the least amount of meaning in my life. And so for me to think that the soul can remove all of the meaning in my life, I question whether that is sane or if that is the next step in my journey. When I talk about meaning, I talk about all the things that excited me, the things that made me feel like I had a reason to get up in the morning for, the things that were important. But the more I lean into my soul, the less I feel excited. This is something that I can describe as me getting up in the morning and not have any drive, not having any feeling to do anything. And I've found myself in this position for a few weeks now. And when I found myself in this position previously was years ago when I was in school and I was depressed. I didn't like the classes I was taking. I couldn't see any future in the career path that I have chosen. And I was really, really depressed. And comparing that to now, I don't feel depressed. I don't think I'm depressed. There's no negative thoughts. There just aren't any really driving thoughts. And through my pursuit in understanding the law of attraction, I thought that emotionality was also a big part of really getting to the place that you desired. But as time passed by, I realized that just knowing and understanding where you're at is also sufficient. That's also a connection to the soul. So this is really going to be an exposition of my journey, some lessons on maybe when you don't feel connected to anything in life, maybe that's a good sign. Maybe that can be a good sign. So I hope that is helpful. And so we will continue. Okay, the main thing I want to focus on is how the loss of meaning has shown me a new way of achieving contentment without any external drivers. Okay, because the three primary drivers of my old life were greed, validation, and ambition. This is something that I discovered and let go of through meditation, service, and study. I have had to release many of my old identities and begin living from a different center. I am no longer operating primarily from my personality or my ego, and that is something that I can say with great confidence. Looking at my shedding of my old drives, we can look at greed. My old journey was largely about making more money. It felt like a core part of the human experience, but my desire shifted from simply making more to releasing the grips of greed. This led me through many ups and downs, but now I do things for the sheer enjoyment of doing them. I've learned to pursue money in a way that nurtures others, building an internal structure instead of chasing an external reward. This is the most evident in my job as a coach for students with learning disabilities. I love the work, which continues to amaze me. I once held a strong sense of pride about the kind of job I would have and never imagined I'd be teaching. But now I see that it's not about the grind or locking in. It's about continued connection to meaning. What does the thing you're pursuing mean to your soul? And now I want to talk about external validation. Another thing that I have shed from my journey. For a long time, I struggled with external validation. While I told myself I didn't care what people thought, I was still chasing recognition, particularly for my YouTube channel. And to an extent, it did work. Despite the messages and the public recognition though, I didn't feel content. I realized I was so focused on the external that I forgot what I was even building. But after some time, I realized that this really wasn't for me. I didn't feel content. I didn't feel like this was the right move. And now, slowly, I'm returning to YouTube, but it's with a different focus. The quantity of views doesn't matter as much as the intention of having the content out there for those that resonate with it. I now see the value in each step of the process. Researching is a way to learn and make new connections, not just get some good quotes. Recording is a chance to deliver a performance, to put emotion behind the knowledge. Editing and animating are ways to bring concepts to life and present information in a fun way, not just a means to make things look cool. And that's my transformation with validation, to be able to move forward without being driven by the need to prove myself onto the public has been a great thing, because now I am free to create the way I want to create and still connect with the people that resonate with the content that I put out there. And this channel is really just me highlighting these transformations. And I want to go now into ambition and how my life has changed thanks to the release of ambition. And the thing is that ambition was a big part of my life. I've always been known to be an ambitious individual. Sometimes it could be seen as a negative trait of mine because I would just take on too much and I would push a lot of people away. It would be very easy for me to push people away. I really wanted to accomplish, wanted to make things big, to make things happen. Lately, however, the thrill of ambition has faded, replaced by a humbling realization. Everything takes work. If you want to see the fruits of your labor, you have to embrace the mundane. And this is something that I didn't understand, particularly with ambition. I think that when you're chasing something, usually you really want to make things big. And that is also very much dependent on external accomplishment. And often, because of that desire to accomplish externally, everything always had to be big. Everything always had to be exciting. You just always had to be on. But now I'm really realizing that the one sustainable way to achieving through ambition is really by embracing the mundane. And eventually the ambition does fade out. I think at the end of the day, once you get the thing, the ambition does end. And so you're either gonna find yourself in this constant chase of up and down or a slow progression of little by little. And that's really what I'm pushing towards here. And this is especially clear as a father and provider. To make progress, I have to show up every day and do the simple, repetitive tasks that make up life. And so I've come to realize that the flashy, exciting life was simply an escape from the mundane. We all believe there must be something more, but I found that the mundane is not only a part of a good life, but is essential to finding meaning. It is where the soul resides, in the now, in the practical, in the small gestures. I used to fear a boring life, thinking it could be meaningless. I would think that an ambitious individual would always live an exciting life. And that's not really the case. I think now, in being in the place that I am, having accomplished the things that I have accomplished, I feel super content, and it's almost like I feel empty. And it's an interesting thing to think about because I realize that if this is the lowest that one can get, and it's not even low, it's just like, if contentment is what drives my drive, then it's not really drive, but at the same time, it's consistent. It's a consistent daily input that doesn't stop. And in truth, I've come to accept that boring is okay. Having a boring life is completely all right. And just because it's boring doesn't mean that it's meaningless. In fact, a lot of the boring things are things that we need to have in our lives. And I think, I was looking at this YouTube video around this anime Frieren, and the reason it's a popular anime is not because it focuses on the flashy, exciting, crazy animations, although it does have some really good storytelling and animation. The reason this person, the YouTube video, the creator, explained Frieren is popular because it focuses on the little things, on the mundane things. It focuses on the ability to craft a story within the smallest of things. And I think that is really what I'm alluding to. It's like, if you can derive the greatest joy from the smallest of things, then you will never need anything greater than the now. You will never seek anything greater than what you have right in front of you. And in reality, life isn't ever more than what you have right in front of you. And that's something that I also have really, really been sitting with. Life is never more than what you have right now. And if you want to be consistently moving through life, moving with life, engaging with life, then that means that you have to be able to sit in these moments that lack that activity. And I've learned that true activity is sustained by consistent, unspectacular actions. Life is inherently boring, and that's okay. What makes accomplishments meaningful and lasting is the ability to fall in love with the whole process, including the boring parts. I've come full circle. I used to think I could make things look cool, but I realized it wasn't sustainable. My mind is good, but people won't see it unless I show up. I now realize this world won't build itself. I have to build it through daily repetition. And by this world, I mean all of the ideas that I have in my mind. I mean, you look at my channel and I've thrown so many different kinds of interesting ideas together. I've gone through phases of going into social dancing, going through AI and technology, going into, learning and continued efforts and whatever that piqued my interest. And the good thing is that I gave myself the space to explore those things. But at the end of the day, I still realized that if you want to bring these things together and if you want to actually see something grow, you're going to have to go through the daily repetition and you're going to have to go through the mundane. But I have also recognized that in the mundane, I have found my soul. Throughout, you can say what you can say about what I've built in the external world, but in the internal world, I've been able to develop a strong foundation, strong connection to my soul. My intuition is a lot stronger now. My sense of self and ability to speak my truth is at an all-time high. And so this is what it's led to. In this external world, I've lost all meaning, right? I've lost all meaning. I've dropped it all. But now in this internal world, have found a great fortitude that I can always go back to. And that's an important thing, because like when I'm thinking about my family, about my friends, about the people that I'm working with, that I'm serving, they don't need a flashy, like good looking or really talented individual. They just need somebody to be there with them. And I think that a lot of people get this wrong. And so that's something that I want to leave as food for thought. There's also just an acknowledgement of where I'm at and where I want to be. I have found my soul, and in my soul, I have found limitless growth. Now that I have realized that I can do anything, I'm choosing to do something, and in that choice, I'm no longer getting caught up in the noise. There's a lot more concepts to explore. Definitely want to go into the concept of noise itself. So I appreciate you watching. See you in the next video. Okay, take care. Peace.